Hey guys, it's me Simran, and today I'm coming at you with story time I've been meaning to come at you with for literally almost a year. I'm not sure if it's been a year or almost a year, but it's been a while, and I needed to get this out of my system finally. And it's a story time behind Gina or whatever, or how I got locked in a freezer. I don't know, depends on if you watched my other videos or not before watching this one. If you haven't watched my videos, this is the story of the time I got locked in a freezer. If you have watched my videos, particularly the 16 songs 2016 video, this is the story behind Gina. Basically, the story all starts off, it was springtime and me and my friends were volunteering at this color run type of event because we need volunteer hours, and I think we need like 40 to graduate. So, you know, we thought why not? And we were late to the event, so they put us in charge of the concession stand, so we were in charge of like the food and selling the food and whatnot. As for if we had been on time, we'd be working on the color run and we would have like been throwing colors and stuff, but I didn't want to do that anyways because I had to go somewhere later that day. So I was like, lit, we'll work the concession stand, but the hours for the concession stand, and the reason why it was the last thing is because the hours were different. So they would be selling concessions all throughout the color run, but it would mainly be popular, and that's when the main amount of food would come in at the end of the color run because that's when people would actually buy stuff. So we were kind of just chilling, whatever, it was fine. Color run happened, you know, people come, they buy stuff. There was this one girl who was like, I need pizza, and it's like, okay, yeah, sure, give me a second. And she was like, no, but like I'm hungry, I want it now. And I was like, besides that, it was pretty successful, pretty easy to manage. And then we go ahead, and by the time that the concession stand is starting to like wrap up and come to an end, the rest of like all the other volunteers have basically all left, like the ones who weren't working the concession stand, or they've like gone to like this backfield which is pretty far from us, and it's basically like me and my two friends and then the lady who was in charge of making sure, like managing us, but like she's on the phone and like she's going to the side on the phone, if that makes any sense. I don't know, like basically it was me and my friends, and the lady who was supposed to be watching us was like gone to the other side and she was on the phone. And then there was two other ladies who were like telling all the volunteers what to do, and they were the ones who told us, okay, it's time to start wrapping up stuff. And I was like, okay, cool, I'll go put this stuff away. And my friend was gonna come with me, but then she didn't because she and my other friend were eating nachos, and I didn't feel like eating nachos, and like I didn't feel like eating nachos, so I was like, you know, I'll just take the box myself, it's fine. So they just sat on the bench, and I went to go put the box away. Now see, they had it like, okay, so the concession stand was here, and then like in a building over here, there was the kitchen where we were supposed to put the stuff away, right? So in the building, the door was closed, and I'd open the door and I'd go inside, and then like near the back-ish, there was a freezer, and that's where the stuff had to go. So I took the stuff, I opened the door, I opened the freezer, I put it in, and I remember clearly, I literally remember so clearly getting the door stopper and stopping it so that the freezer door would be open, right? Alright, so I go, I put the stuff, I put it in the back corner, I make sure it's nice and arranged, and I kind of feel the door close behind me, but I'm like, it's fine, you know, and I go over and I try to figure out how I'm gonna like open the door because like, I don't know, I'm inside a freezer and it's like all dark because it's a freezer. I don't know why you would have a light in a freezer, but it's all dark, and I'm trying to figure out how to open the door because I'm like, this is an episode of SpongeBob, this is an episode of Arthur, okay, like this is an elementary school this is happening at, so like I would assume that they would think ahead and like safety wise, and they would make sure like you can open the freezer from the other side, especially being it's so big that people can literally fit in it, you know. So I'm like feeling the door and I'm like, oh, okay, so I can't open the door. Shoot, all right, well, I have my phone. I'll just call my friend who we're like right over there, right? So I take out my phone, and like while I'm reaching for my phone, I feel right next to my phone, and it's my friend's phones because they gave me their phones earlier. So I'm like, oh, it's okay. I'll probably just like text someone else who's outside. So I like grab my phone out and I go and I send a text to one of my friends who I know is also volunteering here, and it doesn't send. I look up and I'm like, oh, it's because I have no service. Okay, and then at this point, I'm starting to freak out. I'm once again feeling the door to make sure I'm not stupid, because like, I don't understand why the freezer would not open. Like, have you guys not seen that episode of Arthur and that episode of SpongeBob where they get locked in freezers? Like, that's an actual real problem. I thought that the world had a solution for that. It's 2017 and freezers don't open from both sides. Like, what? Huh? But yeah, I started freaking out at this point. And I think I was like just knocking on the door as loud as I could, and like I knew eventually my friends would have to come for me because they have to put the rest of the stuff away, and I'd only grabbed like the first thing. But being it was a freezer and it was like a hot summer spring day, so I was like dressed for that weather. I was getting cold, and like, you know, hoes never get cold, but like your girl was getting cold, what can I say? I'm so over dramatic. I was genuinely like, okay, So I'm not gonna get hungry if I stay in here because there's hella food everywhere. But maybe I can make a blanket out of apple slices, you know? And then I'll stay warm. It was a mess. But yeah, I was just knocking on the door. And then eventually I hear some laughing. And I like start knocking louder and I'm screaming. Not really screaming. I was like, hey, help, help, you know? Trying to be chill, but also realizing that like I might freeze to death in the freezer. And then my friend come and they're like, oh wait, is that Simran? And they open the freezer and they're all laughing, eating like their nachos. And I'm like, y'all, I was locked in there. I almost died. It was wild. Like, I know I always say I want to die. Like, I know that's a meme and everything, but like not like this. Not this early, y'all. I'm still only 16. Yeah, and then I got out of the freezer and I was like looking around trying to figure out how I got locked in there because I know for a fact I put the door stopper thing. And I see the lady who was like supposed to be watching us and she's like standing in the corner. She wasn't there earlier, so I was like, but she was just like laughing on the phone and I tried to explain to her that I almost just died and she was just kind of like, and went back on the phone and I was like, okay, cool. But yeah, basically after that I stayed away from the freezer for like the rest of the thing. I might have shed a couple tears because it was pretty traumatic of an experience. Honestly, now that I'm saying the story, it doesn't sound that interesting, but like to me, that's like the most scariest thing that ever happened to me. Like I could clickbait this video, I almost died, and like I wouldn't consider it clickbait, but you know, I'm just over dramatic as hell. On to how the whole Gina thing came around. Afterwards, me and my friends were sitting again, and we're like, okay, how did Simran get locked in there? Like we left her alone for 3 minutes, and she got locked in a freezer. Like what? And I was like, it must have been a ghost. Like that's the only explanation I can think of. I'm pretty sure, I don't know what else I could say. And we're like, okay, yep, it's a ghost and it's named Gina. Where the name Gina came from, I don't know, but yep, that's the story behind how Gina was created and how she tried to kill me by locking me in a freezer. Yeah, I don't know, I can't think of a more reasonable explanation. Maybe like I didn't put the door stopper in thing properly and then it like closed. Maybe it was the volunteer lady because she thought I was annoying. Who knows, honestly. I don't know. If you guys want more story times, I could see I have story times. It's just about the fact if I want to spill them or not because there's a lot of tea involved and that could lead to drama and I don't know if I'm down for that. But if you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe. I'm sorry, I'm just noticing how whack my hairs looked in this whole video. Like, subscribe, comment how you think I got locked in the freezer because honestly, your girl wants to know. Like I actually genuinely have no idea. But yeah, that's everything. See you soon. Bye!